And I just spent 3 incredible days here, campus and camps, and the energy that I have and I take with me from the experience of working with the participants, who are an incredible group of people, has been incredibly inspirational and very, very moving. And I thought that I would learn something in the process in the beginning, and in fact I learned much more than I ever expected. And I see that there's a journey that I've started with these participants, which could lead to very interesting conversations and investigations. My purpose was, to begin with, to just complicate the environment and their notions of what is considered to be aid, support, and development in general, but also within the context of Palestine and perhaps specifically the camps. And so we started with complicating the terrain, complicating the overall their overall notions and expectations of what support structures may exist, what roles do donors and foreign agencies who work in development aid actually do, and the role of the NGO sector and the civil society groups on the ground. And so we kind of reshuffled in the first day their notions of how this whole world operates. And I think it was very interesting to sort of take them on a journey that actually complicates their notions in order to create clarity at the end. Because in the process, what we actually did was give them a sense of the entire cosmology of institutions and structures and operations that they will operate in, and that they actually already operate in, and that Palestinian civil society already operates in. So we started by talking about very basic things, like breaking the universe into 3 sectors: the public sector, the private sector, and the third sector. And then we started looking at what structures and agencies and moral and ethical parameters exists within each of these 3 sectors. And that seemed like a very novel idea, and it started to sort of organize their way of thinking in a new way. And then we started looking at what political structures exist within these 3 sectors, and then what support resource mobilization possibilities and sources of funding may exist under these 3 categories. And I think that what we ended up with is somehow a sense where at any given moment, now that they begin to sort of identify institutions or look at situations and try to analyze them, they'll have a template by which to look at the universe and then make decisions and have critical analysis of what's going on. So we divided the seminar. I arrived here with some kind of structure, but what we decided to do on the first day is actually recreate the structure of the 3-day seminar together. And the seminar and this experience turned out to be more of a workshop / seminar / advising session, all intertwined. And so in the first day, what we did is look at the sort of, again, the cosmology of institutions and structures and the universe that the world operates in. And then what we did on the second day is look more specifically on how foundations and philanthropic organizations are structured, We looked at case studies within Palestinian society of 3 different foundations that operate in a very different manner, that are structured in a completely different manner, and whose goals are very different. And that was an interesting concept, and it created a lot of interesting debate. And then what we did after that, we looked at, we had a debate session where we divided the groups into 2 groups, the participants into 2 groups, and we looked at the pros and cons of development aid, and we looked at the pros and cons of the NGO sector. Given the context of frustration and of dependency and the hyper-politicized nature of development work in Palestine, these issues were extremely important for the participants to negotiate, to revisit, to participate in. And sort of creating a pros and cons approach actually allowed, once again, for nuances and details and specific situations to emerge, rather than have simplistic notions or opinions about what the current situation holds. I think, though, the 3rd day, what we did is we attempted to look at inspiring models of resource mobilization, community development in Palestine, but also in the region and internationally. And so we looked specifically at community foundations, we looked at crowdsourcing initiatives, we looked at non-monetary resource mobilization within communities and trends that civil society and youth groups and alternative communities around the world are exploring. And I think that was a very inspirational moment for the participants, because it laid out a variety of tools and opportunities that they could further explore in the development of their own work within the camps. Then one thing that we tried to do is to also spend the afternoon looking at group projects and having a sort of a critique session of their various various projects that they're currently involved in. Not so much to actually have a coaching session with about each project, but more to see what emerges, what challenges would emerge through this discussion, and what issues would emerge, so that we could maybe attempt to address them, or at least catalog, create a listing of the various issues, problematics, both practical and philosophical, that they will be facing in the coming years and in their careers as they develop more concrete interventions within their camps and within their societies. What I leave campus and camps with, after spending these 4 days here, is a complete renewed sense of what the situation of refugees in Palestine is all about, but more importantly about the social and intellectual and human capital that actually constitutes these spaces and these communities. I've been involved in working in Palestinian civil society and Palestinian discourse for many years. But I think being with 15 incredibly talented, incredibly focused, incredibly creative, and passionate and experienced participants, young people, has really provided an incredible insight into the intimate cultures of the camp and the intimate institutional spaces within the camps, and a sense of what will be possible in the future. I see tremendous possibilities of creative, alternative thinking to be implemented within the process of thinking about the spaces the spatial nature of the camps, but also the social and political and economic and cultural and civic natures of the camps in the coming years. I see a willingness, a sense of an opportunity, and a huge desire to examine and to have critical interventions and to lead the community into a process of reevaluation, redefinition, recreation, as decades and decades of refugee status remains yet to be altered. So I also have a few thoughts that and a few sort of desires or wishes for the participants in this wonderful program. I see that this is an incredible opportunity for them to be engaged in a unique learning experience and in a unique community creation opportunity. And I would urge them to use and to delve deeper into the abstract opportunity of learning and critical thinking and debate and sort of deeper conceptual thinking about the world they live in and the context that they live in, because these opportunities of learning are magical and they're unique and they don't often manifest. And if given this incredible structure and this incredible opportunity, they'll be able then to use whatever they explore in this incredible setting in a pragmatic, more practical level in the futures. And so I see potentially that they may have a tension between being pragmatic and practical and producing results both for the community and for the program. But I would actually urge them to delve deeper into conceptual thinking, critical thinking, political analysis of the issues that they explore with guest lecturers and with their mentors in this incredible safe space, in this incredible supportive environment with an incredible group of people that can challenge each other but also support each other. I see that would be sort of the highlight of where I would urge them to put their efforts. And then the pragmatic nature of the results, the impact in the world will manifest itself eventually. I've had the possibility of thinking also about sort of further investigations for the participants and the program. And I see the notion of sustainability and resource mobilization in all of its facets. I would emphasize that at the heart of the work that is to be explored within this program. So often, such programs of learning focus on the output or the end product or the sort of physical manifestation of whatever projects students would be exploring, and then notions of resource mobilization on a conceptual level, on a philosophical and political level, are then explored as a means to sort of embody whatever ideas are generated. And I would encourage to actually reverse the process, to sort of implement critical thinking about resource mobilization, community activation, alternative mobilization of funds, but also other assets within the community as a process, as an integral process to the critical and creative thinking that might lead to interventions within the camps and within specific spaces. I would also explore the opportunity to think about the camps in an abstract manner, and by that I mean perhaps on a pan-camps manner, about the camps in their totality, an entire group of camps all together, rather than just specifically about one camp or two camps, and in order to sort of think about systems of interventions and systems and structures that might be integrated within the operation, functioning, reasoning that takes place in the camps in general. And so I would encourage further investigation of how such things could take place. And so, you know, from my part, I see there's a huge potential for these incredible participants who are essentially leaders within their communities to think even more broadly about structures and systems of intervention that impact a totality of spaces, not just specific places. And so I would highly make this recommendation.